Hello, hello, hello. Let's see. Who is here? Who is here? Let me put this at the bottom. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. I know this is a little bit of an impromptu stream. But we're gonna go with it. We're going with it today. Just happen to have a little bit of time here. A bit of time. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. One in the chat if you all can hear me. Throw a one up there. Okay. It's Queen. Welcome. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. Let's see. I'm kind of getting back into this thing. Hold on one second. Let me see. Welcome. And welcome to the chat. Who else is here? Let's see what's going on. Who else is here? Kaizen, welcome. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat, Kaizen. Thank you for being here. Corey Leith, welcome. Welcome, Corey. Gabe, how are you? I had a question. One. Okay, yeah, throw your question in the chat. And that's something that I do during these live streams. It's one thing that I desire to do is to connect with you all, people who might watch my regular videos, but also at the same time be able to answer any questions and connect with the people who watch my content. So feel free to throw any question in the chat, even if it does not align with the subject that's happening, the subject that's going on. I'll try my best to answer it, but yeah, so feel free to throw anything in the chat. So welcome, Corey. Welcome, Ghost MKC. With the emojis, welcome to you all. Thank you all for being here. It's crazy because I have in my other screen, I have the video playing, and I'm about to stop that. So I don't get distracted. Okay. Okay. Let's see where we at. Yeah, and Corey, feel free to put that question down there in the chat. We got a good amount of people here. Sure. So I think it is a good time to go ahead and start. Actually, let me do the intro video or the intro little slide, and then we can go ahead and jump into content. Let's go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Struggle Security, where we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. Today, we're going to be covering a pretty cool topic. It's been something that it's kind of been going through my mind a little bit as I've been kind of perusing these YouTube and the internet streets and everything, and really kind of getting a better understanding of kind of what type of content is out there, but even also try to recognize some content gaps. So I know that before I had mentioned, actually, we got a couple other people that just came through. Casual Economist, welcome. Always here, always supporting. Definitely appreciate that. So Corey, let's get to your question. You mentioned, in your opinion, do you think that these following credentials I am pursuing will strengthen my chances of having a great cybersecurity career? So you mentioned a couple of ones here. CISSP, that's very much so one of the standard certifications in cybersecurity. So I would say, yeah. CISM, I think that's another one for like a manager level type of cert. So CISSP and CISM, those might actually in ways cancel each other out. I know for DoD, not cancel each other out, but more of a redundant type of cert. Because CISSP is a lot of times aligned to that of manager or above type of levels within cybersecurity, but CISM has a similar type of feel to it. I know CISM is more popular within DoD and government, so that might be one way that you want to go. But I would say probably do CISSP or CISM unless both are required. Then you said a bachelor's and a master's in cybersecurity. Okay, looks like you're trying to go up there. Looks like you're trying to go up to the top. And also, so I think that's a really good path, right? The only observation here, I would say, between the CISSP and CISM, those are almost redundant. So maybe one or the other, unless both are required. a bachelor's and master's, I think that will only depend upon what you want to do, right? It will only depend upon what you want to do. Are you trying to go to that of director, senior manager, CISO, chief, which stands for Chief Information Security Officer? Do you want to go that type of route? Then maybe, yeah, bachelor's. And in that case, I would say maybe a master's if you not necessarily in cybersecurity, unless you're looking at research or working for some type of research institution like international labs, like INL or something. But if you were getting a master's and you were looking at going into more of management or leadership, I would say you should probably get a master's, like an MBA, a master's in business administration. That would probably be the master's that you would want to go for. So yeah, man. I think that's cool. Hopefully that helps. Splunk certification, right? That's also a good one. Those are some good certifications that you can get if you're looking at being more there within the SOC. That might be one that you might want to start off with if you're going to focus in on security operations center type of tools, because Splunk is literally everywhere. So yeah. And then you mentioned that you want to go security architect, cloud security architect, and CISO. So if you're going security architect, you would definitely probably want some of those networking certs, right? So the ones that you mentioned, CISSP and CISM, you might be able to get some of that foundational background in your bachelor's and a master's degree for security architecture, but you definitely want something in networking. So you might want to go for a Network Plus or a CCNA. I know when I used to actually be a network security architect, and those networking certs were absolutely integral because I was designing the systems, configuring the environments, designing the architecture in order to run within facilities. So I think that for security architect, you would want to go in more of that direction, at least putting one or two of those networking certs in there. Cloud security architect, you're definitely going to have to bump up. You're going to have to specialize in at least one cloud vendor, whether AWS, GCP, or Azure, and then kind of max out on those. And then when you start to go to that CISO, that's what I was mentioning, something like that CISSP, that Masters in Business Administration, those would kind of more be in that direction because you'll be managing teams of individuals that implement security for organizations if you're a CISO. So that's very much so important there. Hopefully that all helped. If you have any follow-up questions, just let me know. Okay, we're seeing some other people jump in. Professor Black Ops as well. Welcome. Keep it techie. Thank you for coming through. For all of you guys, thank you all for being here. You all get one. Thank you all for coming through for sure. Professor Black Ops mentions facts. That is a lot. Yeah, CISSP, CISM, the bachelor's and masters. That is a lot. I would say that it's doable for sure, but it is a bit much. Now, if your organization is sponsoring it, yeah, I say go hard. That was that one. Keep it techie says salute. Everybody's saying hello. Corey, what did you say? Big companies with big budget ran Splunk. Yeah, big companies with big budgets. Yeah, but also I know Splunk a lot of times. So I work with an organization that does consulting firm, and we do incident response engagements. So when companies get hacked, they'll call my firm to be able to respond to those. We have what you call retainer services, incident response retainer services, and we use Splunk even within our practice in order to do threat hunting activities, analysis of different logs that might come from compromised environments, and just overall helping customers beef up their security architecture. So I would say that Splunk is also used not only in big companies, but also big consulting firms too. Corey said you already have Security Plus and sysadmin cert. Okay, I think you're going in the right direction, and I think that you said that you already have a role, so I think that you're also in the SOC right now, from what I remember. AWS Cloud. Oh, you have AWS Cloud practitioner. I'm saying, like, if you're going to that architect, like like a cloud security architect, you want to beef up on, like, you want to probably pick one of those lanes or one of those vendors and kind of max out within the cybersecurity realm, or at least get one of those specialties for GCP, Azure, or AWS, because they have specific security level certs for those cloud certifications. So I would say that would be dope. Damon, welcome, Damon. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you for dropping in. Thank you for dropping in. And then another one, I want to work for large companies. Yeah, large. Yeah. Well, with large companies, hey, that's exactly what you need. Yeah. I think you're going in the right direction. What are your thoughts on the CAS cert? CAS cert is a DoD cert, pretty much, because I don't know anywhere else that it's really focused in on. I don't even really see it on a lot of job descriptions, other than for Department of Defense with that DoD 8570 list. Let me see, because I don't see CASP anywhere else. But that is one that I've seen for large, or I mean for DoD. Des Demond says, I just completed my MBA. Okay, I have a MS Azure Architect and AWS Architect Associate. I have no active practice with these certs. What would you suggest, man? Start applying. Apply. Keep applying to jobs until you get a role where then you're able to leverage those certifications, leverage the experience and the knowledge base that you got from those certifications in order to apply it. Because right now you have all the bases, right? You have the certs, you have the MBA, you most likely have a bachelor's degree too. Yeah, you couldn't jump there. But yeah, I would say you got to get in the role to get some of that experience. Or maybe even start to develop maybe your own home lab to supplement for some of the experience that you might not have right now. So I would say get into a role where you're able to apply that knowledge of those certifications that you've acquired. So I would say that for sure. Kaiser says, what do the senior and director roles look like for Red Team and technical career path? That's a very good transition into some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about today. He says, is the ceiling staff or director? And okay, is the ceiling staff or director? Oh, is the ceiling staff or director in need to transition to management side to progress further? Okay, that's good. That's good. Actually, I'm gonna star that. We're gonna come back to that exact type of that exact question. So we're gonna come back to that for sure. I hear the jobs lowball you salary wise. No, not right now. There are so many organizations that are still in need of a lot of cybersecurity services. I wouldn't say that it's as crazy as it was during the pandemic, because during the pandemic, it was going crazy. People was getting offers. Offers were going crazy during the pandemic because many of these tech organizations or even tech adjacent organizations were looking to beef up, bolster their roster of security talent to the point where, they were just shelling out money because their stock was doing so good. But I would say that once you're in there pretty heavily, then the thing about it is that you can almost name your price. And, many organizations are looking for people who are skilled still. So, I have seen a little bit here and there with some folk, but I wouldn't say that it's like a wide across the board. Maybe for some of the big tech organizations because they're struggling right now. But yeah, man. So that's kind of how I see it. Yeah. CAS is for DoD. DoD type. Boom. Okay, well then CAS will be cool there. Apply. Keep it techie saying the same thing. Apply. Yeah, absolutely, man. Happy that can be a value to you. Here comes Zone in here. What's up, Zone? Welcome to the chat, Zone. Let's see. Who else just came through? Zone. Hold up. Wait, y'all. Hold up. Wait. There's so many things in the chat. Wait, I gotta slow down. I'm not used to managing the chat. I haven't been on live in a minute. Okay. So to the real working and listening for sure. So I want to say welcome to Zone. Welcome to Free Zone. Let me go ahead and give you. Thank you for coming through and contributing to the chat. Thank you all for being here. DoD jobs. And Old Country Boy, thank you for the super chat. He says boot camps versus bachelor's degree for long term. This has been a question. I'm going to specifically answer it. Long term. Okay. Let's just take a step back, right? Let's look. So the first thing that I've seen within the field is that the people who are still the leaders, or who are the leaders, are still that of the older generation. The older generation, whether it's now starting to transition more to Generation X, but even baby boomers, those are the people who are the directors, the people who are the CISOs, the CIOs, chief information officers, the CEOs of companies, even as it concerns those people who are head of HR departments. Those individuals are still in control. And I would say the Gen X generation, who's coming into more of a leadership role within corporate environments, they still kind of assume a lot of the mindset of the older generation. And really, with the older generation, they are still going for degrees over boot camps. They're still going for degrees over boot camps, man. Heavy, because they're those individuals in HR and also leaders within companies. They look at that as kind of like, they look at it as a rite of passage, because many of them have acquired degrees, and they look at it as like, I'm trying to, I guess, mimic myself, or they're trying to create some type of standard of degreed, quote unquote, educated individuals within their organizations. So I say that if you're looking long term to work for organizations, it's important to have a degree more than a boot camp. I would say that if you're not able to afford a degree, or you don't desire to make that time and commitment there, I would say go ahead and go for the boot camp and take your chances. But you definitely have to network a lot. You have to show yourself to the public to say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I can do for your organization. I think that you'll probably have to do more than if you had a degree if you go to boot camp route. Feel free to throw a follow-up question to that if you want additional discussion on that one. But yeah, thank you for the super chat. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much. I know I have something there for that. What is this? What is this one? Okay, yeah, that goes. So every time you give a super chat, you get one of those. Yeah, that. Appreciate it, man. Definitely appreciate it. Okay. No one hiring for cybersecurity roles unless you have 5 years plus experience for entry level. I know Zone is trolling, but Zone is wrong. Zone 559 is definitely incorrect in that. They are definitely hiring people who are entry level. We've actually went over a couple of job descriptions where they were looking for entry level individuals, whether internships, whether co-ops, but even just entry level where they're able to be trained up. Okay, so he is wrong, but it's cool, Zone. It's cool. It's cool to be wrong. It's cool to struggle, right? We're just helping to alleviate some of these struggles here, alleviate some of your incorrectness and struggles, but it's cool. GRC and compliance, making sure companies are in compliance, business security and operations wise. Those are skills that are important for those of us who want to become managers and hold a real role in the long term. Listen, well, yeah. So I think that's a follow-up to your question. Yes, degrees are more important for moving up too. They're more important to move up. And it's not so much of I think this necessarily. I don't think that degrees are necessary. I think that experience is more necessary than anything else. But really, that's the standard. I mean, I remember when I was first getting into, or I was kind of growing in my cybersecurity experience, and everybody kept telling me, do not get the CEH, the Certified Ethical Hacker Certification. Don't get it. It doesn't mean anything. It's not that important. But the thing about it is that, and they were telling me it's not well respected. I'm like, okay, cool. But then I saw so many job descriptions that were there. I saw many organizations that were looking for that certification as a foundation to be able to get a role. So then I'm like, well, let me go ahead and get it and see how that works out. So I ended up getting it. And that actually got me into my first pen testing role, because the hiring manager saw Certified Ethical Hacker. They saw that certification was well advertised to the cybersecurity industry. And I got hired. And I got put into, that was my entry level, or my entry into penetration testing. So, I would say not to always listen to the he say, she say, is a cert respected, is this and that and this and that. Look at what the data is telling you. Look at what LinkedIn and Indeed is telling you about those roles. If you're seeing a certification or a role, or in your case, the thing that you're mentioning, bachelor's degrees for management roles and above, then the thing that you want to look at is that, hey, let me not try to reinvent the wheel. Like, I'm going to go along with what is necessary in order to get where I desire to get. So I think a lot of people can get caught up in what people are saying. If people respect what I'm doing, nah. What is the industry telling you? What is the data from the industry telling you? I think that's much more important to align with in order to get where you desire to go. Okay. Professor Black Ops, okay, you guys are talking. I'm making my way down. Long term, you need a bachelor's degree. Okay, zone, making some sense. There is no shortcuts to high six-figure salaries. Got to get degrees and certs and experience. Yeah. So, the combination of all of that is also important too. So if you're getting a combination of things, yeah. You need all three. Senior level, I got a degree. So shit, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that that's the correct thing, right? I'm not saying that that's the correct thing, that's the thing that you need to do. But I am saying that that's what I've seen. I got a degree, so you need a degree too. They say that a lot of times. I only have 5 classes left for my bachelor's. Tried the certification and experience route, but reached there we go, right? So I'm not alone in saying this. Justin Williams says, I only have 5 classes left for his bachelor's. He said he tried the certification and experience route, but reached a ceiling without one. Do you want to reach a ceiling, right? I'm not advising that you reach the ceiling before you figure out that, hey, maybe I need to retool what I'm doing here. I don't want to retool and then go back. But big ups to you, Justin, for taking those steps to get where you desire to go. Right? You said that you've reached the ceiling and now you're course correcting, right? As we all should do. So yeah, there are ceilings because many of these job descriptions and organizations still do require degrees. Even if people are like, people have these I've seen people with their own training organizations and own boot camps, which is cool. It can really help you with a lot of your knowledge base and kind of expediting some of your career goals. But the thing about it is that you got to go with what the industry is where the industry is telling you to go. So that's very important there. So Corey says certs. There are no shortcuts. 6 figures, got to get degrees. Certs, yeah. Y'all figure it was certs because I'm like carts. I don't necessarily know what carts are, but I definitely know what certs are. So y'all figured it was certs. Okay, Christopher Dunn. I haven't seen you in a while, man. Welcome. You said degree. He said his degree was worth it when he started, and it was a requirement. You can get years of experience, no debt, and get paid working up from the bottom now. Absolutely, Chris. And welcome to the chat. You get one of these. Welcome to the chat. And I think that that's absolutely true, right? I can also say that my degrees were worth it. A lot of times it is the requirement. And what else did you say? I started in it was requirement. You can get, yeah. So like, I think the years of experience is extremely important too, right? I don't want to discount that at all. Those years of experiences are extremely important. But even, I want to comment on the debt, right? So you can get those years of experience without getting the same amount of debt that's associated with degrees. But when you start working for an organization, you're getting that experience. Many times organizations want to invest in you, want to invest in your educational matriculation. So they'll start to pay for your degree. So I've had several times where I was going for my master's and 2 different organizations desired to pay for my master's. One wanted to pay for it straight out. They wanted to pay for it straight out. Another one wanted to do like what they call like a percentage, degree percentage. So they pay for a percentage of your degree here and there. So I rejected both of them because another thing that comes with that, there's a caveat to receiving money from organizations to pay for your degrees, and that's a time commitment. That is a time commitment. So if I would have went with the organization that was going to pay for my master's straight out, I had to stay there 2 years post acquiring my degree. And then at that point, I had to stay there 2 years and then I can go, right? But there's a time commitment associated there. So, do you want to do that? I don't know. I didn't want to do it. And if I would have stayed there, I would have been, 2019. I would have still been able to leave. But I got my master's in 2021. So I would still be there right now. I would still be with that organization right now. So, but yeah, so it's time commitments that come with that. So yeah, But great comment. And thanks, Chris. I'm going to get past the algorithm of these jobs. Yeah. Well, casual economist, it is like that's the thing. You want to get past the algorithm, but you also want to sometimes even if you get past the algorithm, you do want to align with what the company is requiring. You do still want to align with what the company is requiring. For Rock, oh, welcome to the chat, man. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. Hi, I'm trying to move into a SOC analyst role. Okay, I'm currently a SQL developer for 1.5 years and also 3 years of technical support. Okay, you gotta sound like you have a very solid foundation in tech as a whole. So yeah, I have a bachelor's and a security plus. How would I, man? As we said before, apply. And also, you said you have a security plus. I think you have a lot of the foundations to jump into a SOC analyst type of role. There might be some tools that you might want to get accustomed with, like tools like if you're looking at a SOC, you might look at Splunk, as we were mentioning before. Those might be some of the certifications, or at least be familiar with the tools. You've done tech support, so that's something that's also aligned there. So you won't have an issue there. What else you say? SQL development, man, that's all important. I would say apply. Anything that you might see. So I actually saw a filter. Let me see if I can find that filter. There was a filter for, not a filter, but like a Google Dork. So it's utilizing Google to find websites and the information that you need. 1 second. I'm gonna try to find this for you. really quickly, because Indeed and LinkedIn aren't the only places where you can find jobs. There's some other ones that are a bit more streamlined. Let me see if I can find it. Dang, I know I saved it. Okay. Here. I'm actually put this in chat whenever I get a chance. A lot of these kind of more go towards, oh yeah, that's another one. Blue Team Level 1. Cert. I've been hearing great things about that one, about that certification. So that might be something that you want to add into it. But wait 1 second. I'm gonna search for it before we get off. Because I have it here. Okay, I'm gonna search for it, and then I'm gonna throw it in chat whenever I get a chance. Okay. But also to that, like PSP T661 mentioned that Blue Team Level 1 cert is a very good certification for cybersecurity as well. So check that out. Check that one out too. Corey, how much projects should you have on your GitHub relating to cybersecurity? Well, if you're using that as your personal, right? If you're using it as like your personal portfolio, I say as many as you can manage. I would say like two or three that you can explain during an interview process. I would even say if recruiters are reaching out to you, make that a part of your email response, and make sure you let them know, or even put it on your resume. Say, hey, this is my GitHub account where I have projects that align with my cybersecurity knowledge and experience. So I would say promote that to recruiters and hiring managers, but like 2 or 3 that you can speak of from beginning to end. So I know that I have a GitHub. It's nothing crazy. I got a couple of ones on there where I know one that I have where I'm using, it's a Python program that searches local networks for MAC addresses or just connected devices on a local network. And then it outputs the MAC address, it outputs the IP address that it's associated with, and it also outputs the vendors. Because, a part of the MAC address is that vendor identification piece. So, and that just prints that out to say, hey, this is what's connected on my network. And the thing about it is that it's kind of cool because it kind of blends in a little bit. Well, blends in a bit because ARP, it uses address resolution protocol, which is a very common protocol that zooms around all internal networks. So it has a little bit of stealth to it, but it's able to identify what devices are connected on your local network. Like you can even run it at home on your home network in the event that somebody else is trying to connect to your network or connect to your environment. So that's one that I can explain from the beginning to end, right? I can tell them about how I know about networking devices, know about networking protocols. That ARP address resolution protocol is there. What is that? OSI model. What is that, layer one when you get into MAC addresses? And then it can kind of build up from there and being able to identify malicious devices that might try to connect to your environment, things like that. Things like that. So, I would say maybe 2 or 3 that you're able to explain from beginning to end, where you're highlighting basic cybersecurity concepts that you've learned or developed throughout making that particular project. So hopefully that helps. Damon, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You said thank you for this space. I'm learning a lot from all of this, trying to make my step. Definitely appreciate the super chat. Thank you. I definitely appreciate it. You get one of these. I guess this is the super chat one. I got to come up with a new one, but this is the one. Yeah, man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. And we got another one from Old Country Boy. Said, can we expound on these ceilings? Yes, we can. We are definitely going to expound on the ceiling really quickly. Thank you for the super chat. I definitely appreciate it. You get one of these. You get one of these. I don't know even where I found that at, but I think it aligns. It's something good. It's something. I don't know where I got that from. I'm gonna come up with a better one. Thanking people for the super chats. But I definitely appreciate it, old country boy. And we are going to expound on what the ceiling is. Okay, Wire Dog, welcome. As you are here all the time. Wire Dog is also a cybersecurity content creator. Go check out his channel. On Wire Dog Sec. Apply and look into Blue Team. Oh, okay, we read that one before. Be sure to hit the like button. Absolutely, notification bell. All of that. I'm doing that course now, and it's so worth the cost. Boom. We got somebody with experience with the Blue Team level 1 cert. That was for Rocco. Yes. So he said he's doing it right now. He or she is doing it right now. So Kaizen said, what are good projects to put? Man, so Kaizen, we're gonna have to get into the subject, man. Like, I really want to answer this, but it's gonna take a minute. So we might come back to it later in the chat. But I do want to get in on what this subject is, right? What the subject is for today. And as you all notice, I'm on pretty earlier than normal because I am off. I'm on vacation. Me and the wife, we heading out of town. I'm not gonna finish that lyric, but yeah, we're out of town soon. So we're getting a flight later this evening, and we're gonna be out. Deacon Dave, welcome, and Miss Queen, thank you. She said, please click the like button, share the stream, support even if you're from the bushes. If you're in the clouds, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. If you're a hater, I appreciate that too. Deacon Dave, welcome, and thank you for being here, man. Thank you for being here. Okay. Let's get into it. So the title for this one is Beyond the Entry-Level Role, Beyond the Entry-Level Cyber Role. And some of the subjects that I'm looking to cover are things like the ceiling and not being able to go beyond a certain point. And that's what I think why old country boy had asked about. So we're gonna have some conversation about that. Okay. So it kind of came from, sometimes I just peruse YouTube and peruse the internet for different content and different subjects that the overall cybersecurity field is covering. And I'm always seeing where it's talking about how to get in tech, how to get in software engineering, how to get in cybersecurity, how to get in. Everybody wants to get in, but I'm seeing that there is a gap in conversations about how to stay in, advance, get promoted, move up, and thrive overall, right? How to maximize your entry into the field. And that's kind of some of the things that I want to talk about now. Maybe we'll have follow-up conversations, but that's kind of what I'm looking at, because I think the important thing about it is that when you get into the field, when you get into cybersecurity or tech as a whole, you should be looking at the next move. You should be looking at what's going to be next for me as I am here within the field, as I'm here within the role. So one thing that I want to start off with, so I got just a list. I got 6 little things that I have here. And actually, here, let me go ahead and drop the link because we can make this a conversation, because I know there's other professionals in the chat who, oh no, that's not the link. This is the link. There are other professionals in the chat. Here, let me go ahead and delete this one. How do I get this off? Do I have to block it? Remove. Okay. Zone. I gotta mod you up here. What are you? Add as moderator. Managing moderator. Let's see what havoc you do. Okay. I know Zone post the link and all types of information. So Zone, hopefully you got the mod, but I think this is the link. Yes. So if anybody wants to join the stream, feel free to hit it. And then we can kind of have some discussion and conversation about what some of these look like and what I've seen in the field. Here we go. So let's start off with the first one. So in order to move up, I guess the first one is more of a recommendation of what not to do. What not to do. This one is one of what not to do. In Zone, like I mentioned, if you could, wait, how do I, okay. How do I pin a link? Can I pin a link? Participants, toggle moderator activity. How do I pin? I don't know how to pin it. Do I just right click on it? Pin the message. Okay, it's pinned, Zone. Perfect. Okay, join the panel if you so desire. Okay, so the first one, like I mentioned, is going to be one that is not, this is what I desire. I don't think that you should do if you're trying to move up, move beyond that ceiling. The first one is to not lie about your experience. Don't lie about what you're capable of doing. Don't lie about your education. Don't lie about your certifications. Don't lie. Do not lie about what you are capable of doing and capable of delivering. Because the higher and higher you go, now, like we were mentioning before, entry level, well, I don't know if we were mentioning this before, but entry level, you're not as responsible for things as you are with the higher and higher you go into roles. But if you're lying about what you're capable of doing, then you will eventually be outed, right? People will eventually see that, hey, does this person really know what they're doing? Does this person really understand what they're talking about? And I think this is a cool one. Like, I'm in this Discord. It's a dope Discord. I'm not telling y'all what this Discord is because it's kind of crazy at times. So, but here, I'm gonna share this. Let me see. I'm gonna share this, and I'm gonna also, let's see. Let me present this. Let's see. Share screen. How do I just share a tab? Okay, how do I share this? I guess I gotta share the whole window. Okay, and this is about lying about your experience and how it's very possible for you to get outed, right? Let's. I'm gonna go ahead and share here. Yeah, I think you all can see that. Welcome, Professor Black Ops. Welcome, man.
How you doing?
Good, man. We're talking about one of the first things that I'm recommending people to not do if they're trying to move up within the field, right? Going beyond the entry level. And this is one that we want to talk about here. I'm just sharing the video really quickly and then we can get comments. All right? Okay.
You got sound on your end? I don't have any sound on mine.
Oh, they said no audio. Okay.
Yeah, no audio.
I don't know why it's no audio. Let me see.
Did you share the tab? Sometimes you got to share the tab. It's usually a clip on the bottom.
So it's not a tab, it's a video on this one. Let me see if that would, here, I might just have to go to the Discord and play it. Let's see. Oh, okay. I'll do this. I can maximize it and I can share the tab. Perfect. Window, not window, but the tab. Okay. You all should be able to hear this one. Okay. I'm going to play.
What's your secret?
I'm sure everyone's done this at least once in their life, but I've definitely lied on my resume when it came to my education experience, just to definitely like boost that chance of me getting the job.
What did you say that you did?
That I have a master's.
What was your master's in?
In business. I have an MBA, but I totally do not. I did major in business, but just saying that I have a master's has opened so many other doors and opportunities.
Really?
Right.
Yes. And no one's actually vetted it, so it's staying on my resume.
Okay. See the follow-up. Oh, that's it. Okay, that was it for this one. Let me go to a different one, and it's going to talk about why you shouldn't why you should not do that. Dang. Okay. This is another one. This is another one. And again, for context, this is what I'm suggesting that you should not do to move up. Do not do this to move up. Let me share this one. And again, about lying. So this brother lied on his whole resume, say he had a master's of business administration. He doesn't have it. And he said he's gonna keep it on there. So let me just look at this one and then we can open it up and talk.
Lie on your resume. Swear to God, it works. Hiring departments do not double.
All right, I'm just be real with you. I've been a recruiter for about 7 years now. I've helped 379 Black people get jobs in tech. And one thing I never do is lie on my fucking resume. Do you know why? Because we actually do check, especially when there's big money at play. We actually go to companies that actually pay them to do background checks, right? Sometimes we might not care. Sometimes, yeah, you might be able to get a blind, but I'll be real with you. With the way that fraud has been going, people lying on their PMPs, people lying about the certs they have, people lying about the workplaces they've worked at, verification is a big thing in this industry. So if you want to play and you want to fuck up your money, go lie on your resume. Don't say I didn't warn you, but yo, when they find out that you fraud them, you could be fucking 20 years deep. They're cutting you.
Facts.
What you think of that, PBO? What you think of that?
Oh, facts. And maybe because I'm in the federal space, and you do work in federal space, they definitely look up your credentials. Now, I can understand if you stretched it. You started your MBA, you put in there, I'm in an MBA class or MBA program, you stretch it, but
right.
And two, maybe that one guy was in business and he wasn't in tech. But I know a lot of times in tech they check your reference. So.
They check. We are I don't know if any time where when I've worked for a reputable organization where they didn't check, I had to do drug tests, background checks. Even when I've been in a firm and they're proposing me for new work, they check my background. Yeah, so it's
yeah, I'm gonna pick on you though, but you work for elite companies, right? You elitist, so you work for big companies, so they're gonna do it. So maybe if you're a middleman, small, they don't check as much. But I'm with you. I work for even the medium-sized companies. They put me at big clients, so they want to make sure.
Right.
Because if you look bad, you're gonna make their whole consulting firm looks bad. So
that's very true. In a current engagement that I'm involved in, I'm what you call the delivery or the engagement lead. So I'm responsible for 15 to 16 people. And then when we were doing a lot of the contract negotiations, the company that we were doing the business for, they were asking background checks for everybody, where people were geographically, their certifications, their degrees, because they had to do their own verification process of the resources that we're providing to do the work. There were some people that they actually asked to not be a part of the project. Mm-hmm. Right, for various reasons. One of the major reasons was because we had some international resources, and they said that they wanted all local U.S. folk. So people do check. So that's the first thing I would say. If you're looking to move up, if you're looking to, I guess, not go beyond the ceiling where you are currently, don't lie about your experience and what you're able to deliver, because you'll eventually get found out. Whether it's lying on your resume, but also lying on what you're able to do in the field. Don't lie and say, hey, I can come into your environment and transform your whole security architecture where we have zero issues or whatever. And then all of a sudden, the next day, your company get hit by ransomware. So, don't lie about what you're able to deliver on either. But yeah, go ahead. Do you have any comments on that one?
No, that's pretty much it. I would just, like they said down in the chat, just work on your craft, work on your certs, get your degrees. Most times when you start working at a firm will pay for your degrees once you get in there. So
100%.
I would tell people to get them. I know the debate's always certs versus degrees, right? I always say both because, like you said, the baby boomers are in all the leadership and they expect you to have one. Like I said, I got in a very spicy conversation with my boss because he's still a degree guy. I'm trying to push him more towards certs, right?
I'm telling you, they're all still degree guys. All the CIOs, CISOs, all these guys are still degrees over everything type of folk.
But the funny thing is, though, I actually talked him into getting a guy with no degree in certs because I told we got to train him, man. We're gonna train him how we want to train him anyway. So I think that's the debate.
Right.
Shout out to Keep It Techie in the building.
Keep It Techie. Welcome to the chat, man.
What's up? What's up?
To the panel, really. Yeah, we can hear you good. Yeah,
cool,
what's
cool.
good? What's good?
Hanging in
You
there.
see Wired Dog coming in hot and heavy. He says, on top of that, sometimes the interviews may have actual practical aspects to it. You'll have to do hands-on keyboard things. So if you're lying to get the interview, sometimes the interview is going to check to see if that lie that's going to go through. Yeah.
So just real quick, before I Keep It Techie, I talked to 3 people that was going for junior positions, and you know they going through these. They trying to do the star. She was like, "Well, I put on there that I found a problem with the policy and I did the poem for the policy." I said, "Well, what was the policy?" She started stuttering. I'm like, "If you tell me you did something, I'm gonna ask you to expound on it. Okay, what specific policy did you apply? Was it access control? Did the Active Directory not have the password complexity?" I'm like, "You got to put some more with it if you're gonna lie. Let's make it good."
Absolutely.
Go ahead,
absolutely. Man. We just talk about the advice I gave is to not lie about your experience, because as you move up, you'll eventually be tested, right? And if you found out, it could be very bad for your career. Like said, but go ahead.
If you say something, I'm gonna ask you to expound on it. That's why I tell people, if you say you found a vulnerability or someone patched, I'm gonna be like, "Well, what was it?" Right? Go ahead.
What was it?
And then it also goes into like even after you get the job, you know, like after the interview process, you get through it and all that stuff. You start doing assignments or they put you on a project or something, and these guys remember. You know what I'm saying? They remember what you said in those interviews. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so if you said you could do something and then they like, "Hey, we need you to do this," and you hesitant or you like, "Oh, I got to look this up," or you know, I don't really understand what's actually doing this situation, and you know that'll look bad on you as well. You know, you won't get good reviews. You know, because I mean they do yearly reviews depending on the organization, and they see you not able to reach the potential that you know put out there, then they could possibly let you go, or 100%. You be on that list of people to lay off.
Well, I'm about to step out here. This is the views of PBO and not of Gabe. Is I tell people as a black man, I think people be trying me, man. I think people gonna put you on there. We talked about microaggressions before. I'm old, so I think everybody trying to get me. So I'm gonna show you how smart I am. So I think people be trying you. And sometimes you might come in above people that thought they should have your job. They're gonna be trying to set you up, man. So they're gonna make sure you got to show and improve. But that's my 2 cents. Because I have people, I just switched jobs, and I'm supposed to be a SME in IRS, so they asking me IRS questions, and I'm taking them off. I told my boss, "I think you're doing this wrong. Here's the brief. This is why I think you're wrong. Here's the actual documentation." Because as a SME, what you talking about above entry level now, you talking about mid-level and a senior. So they're expecting you to lead a project. They're gonna put you out there to see how good you are, right? You're asking for 6 figures, you gotta earn 6 figures. Let me get off my soapbox, guys.
Now let's talk about that, right? And I'm seeing people coming in, right? I don't know, Zone trolling. He said, "Keep It Techie loud about his lyrics." Come on, chill, Zone. Free Zone Loose says facts don't lie on the resume. It's as real as it gets, right? It's as real as it gets. I Hackalite says, "What's good? What's good?" And welcome to the chat, man. It says he just finished a boot camp and now pursuing a job as a probably SOC analyst, man. Congratulations to you, man. All the major thing I say is to keep applying to as many places as possible. That just increases your chance to just get in. And then once you're there, you can get that experience and be able to go and do whatever you desire to do.
Real quick, Gabe. Let's jump on that SOC analyst.
Okay.
Everybody seems to be going for SOC analysts. I only see SOC analysts at huge companies that have big enough SOC. Most mid to small companies don't have SOC. So I would go for maybe the security analyst, right? Where you can do compliance, SOC, a little bit of everything. What's your take on that? I know a lot of people SOC maybe. Yeah, I've worked with SOC, but at big companies, like I've been at the State or Fortune 500 company. I don't see SOC unless I've never seen a small company have a SOC. Go ahead on that.
Right. I've seen like a SOC analyst I've seen security analysts way more than SOC analysts, because those are the people that might come in to to manage documentations. They might be contributing to projects, like if they're looking to, I don't know, switch over a tool. They're looking at doing vulnerability scanning. They might do analysis on that type of stuff. So a security analyst for most organizations will be cross-industry and cross-organization. Now, if you're talking about a SOC, yeah, exactly what you said. More larger organizations, small organizations, they might just have a managed service provider security service that they're offshooting overseas or something.
Right.
So
like me, I do SOC analyst work. Then once I find it or I find that something looks suspicious, I call your firm with what I say. I need that expertise on site, right?
but
yeah.
Let me ask you this though, PVO. So what you're saying, like the SOC analyst role, I mean, doesn't a lot of the experience you gain as a SOC analyst can be transferred to just a regular security analyst? Isn't that like some of the same skill sets?
Yeah, I guess my only thing is I think it's more security analyst. So I think you start off as the security analyst because there's more jobs.
Okay.
Then that'll help you get to the SOC. But now you're right. I think they're definitely transferable. I have SOC skills, but like I said, I've never only seen SOC at big companies. So if you're trying to get into the game, I probably would focus on maybe security analyst. So I was throwing that to Gabe because I think he does a lot more SOC work than I do.
Yeah, definitely hearing them. No, but it's transferable. Absolutely. Untitled said internships don't help. Yeah, that's also important. And that's where I got the video from. Untitled had posted it in that Discord that I don't recommend anybody go into. It's a crazy Discord, but we have a text section there. But yeah, Untitled had posted that within the Discord. I saw that this question was here. It says, what advice can you give for somebody who made it to the final interview but not getting the offer? Been there.
That's progress, though. A lot of people ain't getting interviews to get to the final, so I wouldn't give up. Like you said, just keep grinding, because to get a job, you got to get to the final. So I would ask for a notional interview, and hopefully they came by and said, well, you were missing this, and this, right?
I was just gonna say that. Maybe even reach out to the recruiter or the hiring manager if you had their contact information and say, hey, what areas could I have improved upon? And that actually happened to me for one of my first roles that I got out of college. I had reached out and said, what are some of the areas I could have improved upon? Turned out the person that they tried to hire didn't end up showing up. Fine. So because I was the first person to reach out, I ended up getting the job. So I would say reach out, follow up, and try to go in that direction.
And let me add to that as well. Just look at those interviews. Yeah, you may not have gotten a job, you may not have gotten what you wanted out of this, but take the positives out of it. I mean, look at it as a learning experience. Right. I mean, you worked on your interview skills. I mean, you got to the finals interview, kind of like what PBO said. A lot of people don't even get there. So just take that, improve upon what you know what I'm saying, or what you actually, the experience you gain from doing that interview, and do better in the next one.
And two is, Xavier, a lot of times it's just timing. Sometimes you interview for a job, and that's one thing about Indeed. If you're interviewing with 300 people, come on, man, the percentages aren't gonna be with you, man. Yeah. So some of it might, like Gabe said, you might call back, and a lot of it's tough. And half the jobs out there, they already got somebody I believe, picked for that, because internally a lot of times you got to post those jobs out. So don't get down, Xavier. Keep grinding.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot of, the weird thing is there's a lot of open positions out there. So I would just keep grinding and keep going.
So kind of on to the second one that I had was about, again, we're kind of talking about going beyond the entry-level tech role or cyber role, right? The second one is that when people are looking for people who are more senior for different roles, they're looking at somebody who is able to recognize problems and develop solutions. So just working and just going along with your job, doing the bare minimal, isn't something that typically organizations look at for people to promote or to bring up into higher roles. You want to be able to come into an organization and be a difference maker. You want to be able to find the problems and fill in the gaps of the areas that you see. For example, say for instance, you might be working, we always talk about the SOC, right? Because many times that's aligned to like an entry-level cybersecurity role. But say for instance, you're working in a SOC and you're noticing that there are certain detections that your organization is not finding, right? Or they don't have within what you call like the SOC query library or something, or with whatever SIM tool that you have. Say for instance, you do research and you're starting to look into some different queries, and you do like a delta, like a comparison to say, hey, this is what we currently have in our database. This is currently what we're searching for. Maybe we need to increase it with this, right? So you do like a delta, you do like a comparison, And then you go ahead and present that to whoever your management is and say, hey, this is what I think would help to improve our ability to detect what the bad guys are doing on our network, on our defenses, and our external infrastructure. That's something that organizations look for in individuals that go beyond the entry level, that go beyond just coming into an organization. What you guys got to say about that?
No, that's 100%.
No,
like you said, especially once you get to a senior. Usually, as a senior, they have a problem, and they hiring a person to solve that problem, right? I'm a GRC expert. I'm supposed to be a GRC SME. I do NIST, FISMA. Gabe's favorite one, he hates STIG, right? But I'm a SME in that, right? So at a senior, they expect you to come in because usually when you hire a senior, either I got too much work or I got a problem. And both of those are problems you have to solve. And two is a lot of times and we touched on this, your soft skills, right? I work with a lot of foreign people, right? I got to bring them together. I got to make sure I lead that team down. It just translates because a lot of times people can't communicate and keep it techy. Gabe, no, the higher you go up, how much it's going to cost, what's the risk, and how long it's going to take. They don't really give a shit if it's Linux, Oracle, or what. Go ahead, keep it techy. I'm getting off my soapbox, man. You
good. I mean, I was just going to kind of chime in behind you guys. You guys are, on point with what you're saying. When it comes to, these jobs, just don't sit there and stay stagnant. You know what I'm saying? Look for things that can be improved and, make suggestions, make changes, do what you can to improve that network. Just don't be stagnant at the end of the day. And that's one of those things I try to say to people always, learn new things and try to see if it can be implemented in different projects or bring those topics up, to management in order to make improvements. It'll make you more valuable to that organization.
Right. And even more valuable to other organizations too. Sometimes, let me tell you, sometimes when your organization thinks that you're too valuable, they know that other organizations are looking at you, right? They know that other organizations are probably trying to pull you into their group because they're like, yo, that's a valuable resource. That's somebody who can really make a difference in my organization. So they start to really you almost become like, you know how in relationships, say for instance, you're walking with your girl or somebody, right? Y'all walking out and your girl or your employer might see that a lot of other girls are looking at you, right? That could make your girl jealous. That could make them jealous. So, they try to grab onto you a little tighter, right? They might try to give you more incentive for them to be the one that you choose. So, trying to just make that analogy, but saying that you can not only be valuable to the organization you work for, but you can be valuable to many other organizations based upon your problem-solving capabilities. Yeah.
And I think that's where I need to get a little better. Shout out to Kev Tech. Shout out to Keep It Tech. Is LinkedIn. I post some videos out there. I got an interview with AWS on a humble. And I get people reaching out for me, how to do it. And I was just looking at this question. Corey, GRC Labs, mock interviews. I've been helping people with mock interviews. Cybersecurity framework. Once again, NIST, FISMA, HIPAA, some of the top GRC frameworks you need to be learning to work on those GRC things. I'm a pro of my channel. Come and check me out.
Absolutely.
I got a compliance playlist that hits most of those high-level GRC frameworks so you can get that money. Mid-level GRC people make about 6 figures. So throwing it to Keep It Techy, man. I don't want to hog it up.
Xavier said, much appreciated for all the for all the feedback from us. I'm just going down the chat really quickly. Exactly, you are there to solve problems. Miss Queen, thank you so much for Corona. Everybody hit the like button. Untitled said 100. Let's see. I'm an intern and I solved a problem with a marketing campaign that my director had difficulty finding a solution for. Show your worth. I work in cybersecurity and retail for context. Boom, right? Show your worth. And I think that kind of what you were saying, PBO, and also some of the stuff that he's mentioning here is that I think the next one I want to go over is shamelessly self-promote. I think it's important for you to promote yourself. Nobody will see you unless you make yourself visible to the people that you want to see you. And I think that that's so integral to you going beyond just the entry level roles. Sometimes you might need to self promote to the decision makers. So you might be in a meeting where you're expected to be a fly on the wall, but if you have some input, then speak up. Speak up, right? Introduce yourself to individuals. You might be at lunch at work. You might see, I don't know, the CIO, the CTO. And, it's so interesting because a lot of people think of it as like butt kissing or boot licking because you promote yourself to leadership within an organization. But it's really a part of just like how the corporate environment is. If you're looking at thriving in a corporate environment, it's important for those who are in leadership to understand who you are. You want them to know who you are so that when you make requests, so that when you're trying to move up, you're not this, wait, who is that person again? Right, what do they do type of thing? So if you promote yourself, you're putting yourself out there to be considered for upper roles. I don't know, what y'all think?
Yeah, and I think, like you said, and I think too, especially from a remote work standpoint, how do you stand out in remote work, right? We're not in meetings, you're not walking in people's office, so how do you do that remotely? And I think that's the way you do it remotely, right? So every week I'm making sure I'm touch bases with people up the chain, right? It might be something small, like, I reached out to our head of legal. Okay, we had this problem with this. We were talking on this RFP. So now he's familiar with me, right? We had some good time. We were talking about a specific subject, but I could have did it in an email, but I'm like, let me hit him up on Teams, right? We got all this technology. Yeah. So we cut our camera on. We talked about bourbon a little bit, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But that's how you get known. It's not butt kissing, right? It's really networking. And I think that's going to be the new way of networking, especially if you're talking about remote jobs and doing that remotely. Go ahead, keep it taking.
Yeah, and I could just add as well. I mean, a little bit, but yeah, you're right. I mean, even to the point where you hop on, projects within the organization that you can actually get on or whatever, then, work with those other teams. That's a way of your name start ringing throughout the organization, especially when you're fixing people's problem that you typically wouldn't work with. You know what I'm saying? Then people start hearing who you are. And then also a lot of these organizations, they recognize people that solve problems in a lot of cases, like those team meetings, the meetings about the meetings or whatever, the what you call it, the town halls and stuff.
Town halls,
They'll bring up people names that are doing great things within the organization. It's always good to try to get yourself up there. I know it's chance, but if you're recognized in some way, especially if you're doing great things within the organization, you'll most likely get recognized and people start knowing you from that.
And you want to add a little bit more to that too, because I think not only being recognized in the organization, but being recognized in your industry is something that is even more. So, all three of us do content creation, and I just know of so many different cases where recruiters will reach out to me. Like, it's almost a one-to-one correlation between when I post a video to LinkedIn and when recruiters start to reach out to me. Like, as soon as I post the video, say, hey, I got this new video on YouTube, covers this cybersecurity topic, check it out. Recruiters, I'm like, yo, like I didn't even like my thing isn't even open to work or anything. So, I think that when you're promoting yourself to your industry, you get known. And, there's been cases where I've been able to get podcasts. People have reached out to me about roles that weren't advertised within organizations. So I think that's not only self-promoting within your company, but also self-promoting to your entire industry makes you almost indispensable because not a lot of people do it. So, YouTube channels, LinkedIn posts, projects on your GitHub. I know we were talking about that before. GitHub projects and things that you contribute to on a public basis can really help you go beyond entry level there. Go beyond entry level.
And the other part of that too is, like you said, when you put it on LinkedIn, of course, your views go up, then the recruiters go out. But I tell you, networking on YouTube, shout out to Kev Tech, because Kev Tech always show me love, and I get like 50 people hit me up. I get like 50 people. Yeah, so Kev Tech hit me up. So me just being cool with Kev Tech, and I help his people. He sent people my way for GRC. But when he posts, he posts his favorite YouTubers. I'm sure I'm ranked like last on that list, but I get a lot of love. I get like 50 people want to link up with me. So that alone with me networking with other people on YouTube, like you said, I got hit up by an Indian guy from New York trying to do hybrid. I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to move to New York. Keep trying though. Keep trying.
Shout out to Kev Tech. I'm going to get his channel correctly. Kev Tech IT support.
Yeah,
check out his channel. He always is shouting us out. He always is looking out for all of us as content creators.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna throw his link down here in the chat, amongst other individuals who are there. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe and support. He has been a brother who has supported us on multiple occasions. So check out
Kev
his
Tech give me
channel.
too much support now, man. I've been
Man,
like,
all of us.
But now go ahead and keep it taking. But yeah,
Yeah, right. I was gonna say shout out to Kev Tech as well. I didn't want to not say anything, man. Yeah, he's on it, bro. I'm gonna be meeting up with him next month. I think he's coming out here for that one of those cybersecurity conventions in Vegas.
Okay.
So,
yeah. So the ones in Vegas are what? DEF CON.
Yeah,
Black
I believe
Hat.
it's DEF CON. I think it's
okay,
DEF CON. Yeah.
Okay, DEF CON. And those happen in Vegas, and those are the big cybersecurity conferences. Happen every single year. You know, I don't have no chance. I got a little baby at home, and we might be expecting another one. You know, we might be.
I'm going to see Henry today as well. Textful Chatter.
Okay,
yeah,
that's what's up, man. That's what's up.
Shout out to him.
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's the guy I recommend for SOC because he's actually worked on the SOC.
Yep.
You and Gabe and him. So when the SOC people I send them to y'all too, I like, I ain't never really worked on SOC. So go check those two out.
Wanted to address this one here. This brother, the I Hack a Lot brother, he says it seems like it's so much to learn. What is the safe? Oh, he's asking, is it the same for us? I'm always finding that there's a million things to learn with more specifically in cybersecurity. Like I'm always in some way reading something, learning something. I find it like increasing my knowledge base is important, but at the same time, it can be overwhelming. I still get overwhelmed by a lot of this cybersecurity information, like zero trust. I'm not that familiar with zero trust, even cloud, right? I'm not that familiar with a lot of cloud concepts, cloud technologies. So, you know, but I'm finding I'm taking steps and I'm planning on when I want to delve deeper into certain subjects. So I say that when I get overwhelmed, I'm like, okay, what do I need to know? Let me put that aside and then let me make a plan for when I need to jump into that concept. And I just take it like one bite at a time. I just eat the elephant one bite at a time. So, but yeah, I'm right there with you. How about y'all? Do y'all ever feel like it's so much content and so many things to learn? And
well, I think I'm the oldest, so I've just kind of figured out, like you said, this is what I'm going to focus on. Don't look at the elephant. I'm just going to start with a cold toenail. So I've been really focusing on the cloud. I've really been focusing on AWS. I'll be getting my cert. So Hack a Lot, pick a subject and just try to be good at it. There's just too much out there to learn, especially now. Like, you know, like you go SOC, GRC, cloud, zero trust. I mean, there's just so many things out. PMO, project management. The domain is just too big. So you just got to figure out what interests you. And two is, what skills do you have that you can build on top of to get you in the industry and make you more of a SME and an expert? And you just keep stacking it, right? The more things you learn, the more things you stack. But don't get overwhelmed. Just pick something and try to be good at it.
Right.
And I can add to it as well. I mean, you basically hit all the points I was going to hit, PBO. So you own it. But just pick that. And that's similar to what I tell people that's, you know, trying to get into the field at an entry level. You know what I'm saying? Pick something you're interested in and then try to learn that. And just ignore the other stuff. You'll get there. You'll see that stuff, you know, at a later time. But focus on mastering what you got in front of you at the moment and then move on. You know, don't just be hopping around because you're never going to finish anything. You're just going to, you know, start this and then you get interested in something else and then start this and you never finished anything what you previously was learning or whatever. So just focus on that one thing. Find something you're interested in. Focus on that one thing. Try to get to a point where, I mean, you ain't got to master it, but get to the point where you fully understand it, to the point where you can speak about it and you can actually set it up in your home lab and then move on to something else. Don't just jump around.
Absolutely. You know? Absolutely. I agree with that. And the one that Wire Dog had mentioned, he says to keep track. He said, I recommend keeping track of your accomplishments. It will come in handy come promotion time. And that's something I love doing. Like I make every single year. Well, I actually started it this year, and I'm making it every year from now on. Is make like a slide deck that goes over my last year's highlights to say, hey, this is like I come up with like a title, right? So I think one of them was like I'm leading and learning in diverse environments. So I kind of brought up things like, hey, I was working in this particular team. This is the impact that I've been able to create. But I also have this social media YouTube channel where I've been able to engage with subject matter experts and be able to connect with a wider audience beyond the firm, right? So those are like, that's one of my highlights that I have within my slide deck to say, hey, these are things that I've accomplished. Because as I increase my own brand within the industry, that also helps to increase the brand for the firm. So things like that, right? Just as Wire Dog says, keep a handy track of your accomplishments, right? Not even, yeah. Go ahead.
I think both of y'all brought this up for the start too. Try to put some metrics on what you're doing, right? I always say, okay, I did this. Okay, how did I make the policy more efficient? How did I make the security more efficient? Did I do security in depth? What did I I added this. How much more do I believe the security increased, right? So I think you need to start, which it's new to me, is people want metrics, and actually what those metrics are being percentages, or how much money you saved, or how much money you prevent not getting hacked, but try to put some actual real metrics. Because when I interviewed AWS, my metrics were a little light, so I'm trying to get a little more metrics in there.
And then I Hack a Lot says good feedback. So yeah, happy that could be a value to you. I know Kaizen had mentioned, and he had a comment from earlier. He says, what do the seniors and director roles look like for Red Team and technical career paths? Is the ceiling staff or director and needs to transition to management side? So typically, let me answer this pretty quickly and pretty succinctly. In many cases, the senior roles look like a director, senior manager, CISO, right? But even for many of like the consulting firms, that senior management would look like that of typically like a senior manager or a director. And you would have to, in many times, be in on the management side, because when you're getting higher and higher, when you're becoming a leader, you don't just lead, I guess, projects in many cases, but a lot of times you lead people to be able to execute technical work, especially within red teaming and pen testing and overall offensive security type of roles. So a lot of times those leaders I see have experience in what you call red teaming. They have purple teaming experience. They've been able to execute within like consultant roles or manager roles, and they're able to do a lot of what you call adversarial simulation. So so many times a red team leader would have a lot of technical knowledge, but also be able to lead individuals to deliver that for customers. So that's kind of the best way that I can say that for now. But yeah, you would have to transition many times into that management to that management side. Otherwise, you will be like a SME, which isn't bad, like a subject matter expert. But there is a ceiling for SMEs because typically SMEs don't go beyond that of like, you're not leading a team, but you might be leading a work effort, or you might be leading a service line of work. And more, I'm speaking from that of a consultant type of role, but some of this kind of exists even within large corporate organizations like Target. Target has red team leads and directors and all those individuals. So
yeah, but
hopefully that helps out.
Yeah, just adding on to that. But once again, when you get to mid-sized companies, you kind of tap out on the technical side. That's where kind of I'm at. I'm a SME. I give advice to that. But like you said, there's a cap where on the management side, they expect you to go to VP, director, because now you got budgets and you talking about spending and you talking about leading. I lead people from a technical side as more of a supervisor role. And a lot of times I don't even get the role, right? Just go help them PBO, right? So there's a cap at a technical level, right? So, and we can talk about that another time. So I'm capped, right? My money's capped. Do I want to switch over? I have an MBA, but Gabe will tell you, my first two teams sucked, man. It scarred me. So I'm like, I don't want to do that, man. They were tiling me, setting me up, I believe, to fail. So those are things. Right. But now when I look back on it, right, I wish sometimes I went over to that level, because now I can hire people. I got a budget, right? So there's some things you got to think about on both sides of that, right? So
right, absolutely.
So keep it techy. I like something. I'm getting out
myself. I'm gonna have to hop down, though, Gabe. I gotta.
Yeah. something
but-
to take care of at work. I
all
just
right.
wanted to
Things to get
at least tell you, hey, this is a great conversation.
Appreciate it.
I wish I could stay a little bit longer, but
it's
yeah,
all
this
good.
is awesome. You know
Go
what I'm
make
saying?
that money,
Yeah.
man. You got kids,
yeah.
man. You got kids.
Definitely appreciate it, man. All right, man.
No
Peace
problem.
out.
All right,
Yeah, but
enjoy your
that
is-
vacation too. All right,
Yeah.
peace.
I'll try.
But
Y'all ain't
that'll
gonna see
be-
me.
But that'd be another stream though. Like you
Yeah.
said, tech versus management, pros and cons, salary.
Yes.
What that is, how
I think the most, I mean, we could touch on it now. Like, I think the most glaring thing definitely is salary, right?
Oh, facts.
I think SMEs can get to a certain level of salary that can mimic like a first year manager, and a SME is probably making more money.
Yeah, 100%.
But if you're talking about like a third or fourth
yeah.
or fifth year manager and a
Yeah.
senior manager, then that's when it starts to, there's a bit of separation there, right? Because a lot of times SMEs are like, they give you money up front. Like they give you like your 150, 160, 175, 200K right there. But there isn't a whole lot of movement. You might get like a 2% bump every single year here and there,
Yeah,
right?
facts.
But then when you're talking about a manager, yeah, that manager might start off at maybe 110, 120, but then they'll start to jump up as it concerns equity. Managers and above are a lot of times most have more equity and bonuses associated with their performance than those of subject matter experts or security architects. Another one is that as it concerns your ability to move around on projects in the company. I think another thing that you mentioned was that of finances. You are dealing with resources that are associated with money, that money associated with a timeline. You need project management experience, program management experience. I mean, it's just a lot more that's involved than just the technical when you're moving up within the ranks of an organization. Because really, the money got to make sense for whatever you're trying to do. So you're getting budgets. You have to approve or reject proposals. You have to be able to recognize what the problems are and be able to fill in those gaps with people within the company. I mean, it's so many different things that I've been learning over like the last 3 or 4 years while being in management, that it's just like, yo, like I did not learn this in school. But yeah, go ahead.
Because you've been there a lot of times is you can have a consultant that the client doesn't like or messing up, right? Messing the money up, right? That's nothing to do with technical, right? That's okay. Get them out the project. Now you got to make the client happy again, the client relationship, right? A lot of times once you get up to practice manager, they've been in the industry a long time. It's really relationship. Shout out to Black Ice. Talk about selling services, right? And this is the people. This is what we got. We trust you. We trust this big company name, right? So that's the difference when you talk about management and technical, right? So
and then people is a big thing. Managing people isn't just signing somebody's paycheck or signing somebody's time sheets. It's also dealing with whatever comes with that individual. So a person might be disabled. A person might have a different sexual orientation. A person
nowadays,
might.
I don't know what the hell going on, man. Go ahead.
There's a lot of things that you got to deal with, right?
Facts,
and like organizations, they hire everybody in many cases for job postings. You have to put in all that type of information. How do you manage somebody who comes from a very different background than you? Right? There might be personality clashes, personality differences. People have children. A lot of people want to work remotely. People might, like you mentioned, might go in front of a customer and completely bomb that interaction and in some ways damage that relationship with that customer. What do you do from there? I had a situation where there was somebody who had a DUI, right? And they have to report it, and they could have possibly went, it could have been something further, some type of legal action taken. So how do you deal with that type of stuff? That's a job within itself. Outside, all that stuff I mentioned is not technical. None of that is technical. None of that is technical. And I think those are just some of those caveats there and skills that you'll have to develop as you're looking at going up into management, senior management, and above.
Well, let's be real particular. Those are skills you need to develop if you want to get to this level. A guy was going to offer me, which shout out to Keep It Take, a DBA job, doing some AWS. I was decent at. He goes, I trust your people skills. I need you to get in there too, because a lot of times once you get a client, they expect you to bring more business over to there because you interacted with the client. So they want you to make them get additional business, right? If something goes left, a lot of times it's like seeing it and actually asking for help, right? A lot of people think they're going to save the day and make it worse, right? So that's just a whole, like you said, different skill set. That's where you get in management. That's where you get to the big money. And shout out to Black Heights. We talk about tech sales. Security now is on the sales team because most of the time when people are talking about selling it, first thing they ask you is, what's your security like? Is it this, HIPAA, head rep, HIPAA, blah, blah, blah.
Compliance standards,
so,
So,
yeah.
I know Cal had this question a while ago. Cal Mavo says, I'm a 5-month level 1 SOC, and I'm not feeling like pursuing certifications at the moment, but rather getting experience as I go on the job. How can I better ensure I put this opportunity to good use? It depends on what you want to do. So I think that one thing that we talked about earlier is that of looking for problems, looking for gaps within your SOC and developing solutions for it. So understanding what those toolings are. So say, for instance, you're using Splunk or Sentinel or something, understanding what those toolings are, also understanding what you all are currently using, right? And then being able to say, okay, are we using all of the features that we have? Are we using all of those features? Another thing that you can do, even though you're 5 months in, this is a really good project, and I heavily recommend for you to do this. Since you're 5 months in, you have a very good knowledge of what it takes in order to ramp up in your skill or ramp up in your ability to get familiar with your SOC environment. Maybe write out a new joiners document and say, hey, these are the things that you need to focus on if you want to ramp up quickly within the practice, if you're new. So for somebody who might be brand new coming on your team, where do they go? In many cases, organizations don't have that type of stuff there. So maybe even if they do have it, maybe you can increase it or make it better, because like you mentioned, you have 5 months in, and that could be something that the organization can really help to be able to increase efficiencies. Because if somebody new is coming in and they don't know all of the places to go, they don't know all the little nuances that you've learned over your 5 months, you making a document, helping out, mentoring, that would be something very valuable to get people up to speed as they're jumping into the role. But yeah, go ahead, PBO.
Like you said, I think what I see in most organizations is they have tool overload. So they're not using the tools to the best of their ability. So whatever tool you use, and I would pick of course, the most highly used tool that's sought after, once again, Splunk, SentinelOne, AWS System Manager, whatever those hot tools are, get in there and try to master them. Yeah. Right. And that's the thing. And 2 is the way to get in there, and he brought them up, is most people hate doing documentation. So if you go, a lot of people do. I'm gonna do these documentations for the team, but while you doing them, you becoming a SME in there, and that's how you get on big projects. A lot of times, I used to sneak on projects and be like, I'll do the documentation. They're like, well, come on, right? So you want, and then you start doing something else too. Yep. So when I was younger, whatever the manager's pain point was, okay, I was actually running an Indian team. I need you to get up at 2 a.m. and run a meeting. Okay. Yeah. Right? So you want to do the pain points to help your managers, because then they'll let you in on the project. Right. Because you're learning during that process. Oh, fast. That's it. Yeah. And 2 is, once again, if you're using tools, pick the most tool that's, once again, the Splunk that's highly used out there, and try to get to the advanced features, because most small companies, they too busy putting out fires to actually use the all the features of the tool. I'm amazed when I go in there. I'm like, then they got tool overlap. I'm like, well, Rapid7 does everything Nexus does, and Nexus pick one and go with it, right? So I think as a young guy, you can do that. Go ahead, Gabe. I was gonna say that, and they even have like industry kind of overlays for a lot of these tools. So if you're in a financial institution where you're doing SOC analysis work, or if you're in a utility organization, or you might be in an automotive type of organization, researching what that is online, because a lot of those like YAR rules, those Sigma rules, those a lot of times are public on GitHub. So you can look those up and be like, oh, we're not using this one to detect this particular threat that's native to my industry, right? So you can go ahead and do your own research online to be able to increase your company's ability to recognize the threats that might be targeting them. So yeah. And the thing is, and I think you mentioned it, I mean, it's a slight debate is, where appropriate, even if you're not using it at work. Sometimes I use stuff at home. I use ChatGPT to do exercises, and I email myself, because my company don't want to use ChatGPT yet. They're trying to figure it out. So I just do it at my house, figure out what what I want, just send it, email it to myself. So you're using some of the newest technologies to once again enhance your company and enhance your skill set so you stand out. So I did an incident response exercise. I did it all in ChatGPT. ChatGPT did it. I wrote it, put a couple IRS in there. I'm IRS SME. Then I told my boss, I got it from ChatGPT, and this is what I changed. She's like, oh yeah, that's what's good, right? But you got to put those ideas forward so you will stand out.
I was just putting in ChatGPT. I put in one to say, oh man, they don't have anything specific. I said, what are some YAR rules native to the financial industry? Give me GitHubs.
Yeah, that's a little too. That's a little too new.
It's a little too much.
I think if you go Copilot, I think you could probably get it out of Copilot.
Maybe in Copilot, because right now it's saying like, hey, we're just here in 2021. We don't have anything specific to what GitHubs are now. But they do give like the Yara rule foundation, and they give a couple of regular expressions. But yeah, I would say to search the internet for different tools.
Your ex-company gave out a ton when they Red Team tools got stolen, man.
A ton.
And let's be real, that they got some of the best people on the planet. So they were like, we messed up. Here you go for free. You can just take the rules. And they did it for Snort, which was an open source tool.
Snort too. Yep.
So that's part of the game.
iHackALot mentioned if it is so many job openings, cybersecurity talent is needed in growing industry. Why is it so hard to get in? I don't know. I think it's a lot of picky organizations.
Well, that's true. Let me chime in on that. HackALot.
Yeah.
When a company gets hacked, I think it's $5 million just to get them back where they're at. So you're gonna let new people do that, HackALot. So I think a lot of people forget, right? If you get hacked, so you got 3 million records, that's $100. That's $300 million, and you're not fixed anything, HackALot, right? So I think people are picky with cybersecurity, but like we said before, a lot of times, especially entry-level people, they're gonna train them. So I think entry-level people, I think we're a little too picky. You know, what's the term? I can't even think of it. They'll be blocking people. I can't even think the term right now. Gatekeepers.
Yeah.
I think we got
gatekeepers.
Too many gatekeepers right now.
That's what Wire said.
Yeah, but for the mid to senior people, you want people highly qualified and good at what they're doing, right? But the cool thing though is now, like Gabe said, YouTube's got a ton of stuff. Search can get you in the door, degree. So I think you can build a portfolio to help you get in the door, get that money.
Yeah, and I see here PT61. He said that you have to really know a mixed bag of things to secure cyber roles. A lot of people really aren't qualified or have not displayed this enough to companies. Yeah, I do think for entry level, you do have to kind of be knowledgeable in, I guess, multiple areas, right? So you might have to have some IAM experience. You might have to have some network administration. You might have to have some pen testing type of skills and forensics. So a little bit of everything, but not like focused in heavily on everything.
Well, what's your thoughts on this? Because I go back and forth. I'm older than you, where you used to have to actually do apprentice. You had to be a junior programmer, system analyst, junior networking. Then they let you get in cybersecurity. They never just let you go in. When I first came on my team, I think I was 40. I was the youngest person on my team, and I was programming for 10 years. So I think we're changing cybersecurity where with search, you can step in the door. But in the old days, they want you to do what I wouldn't call apprenticeship, but those entry-level jobs so you can have a breadth of experience before you get into cybersecurity. So I think we're changing that a little bit.
It is changing. You can jump right in with a degree, with a Security Plus cert, and a little bit of experience. Maybe not even a year, right? With an internship or something. We've hired many people within our firm who have only had that into entry-level roles. So I think that, but they needed to be able to express like a broad knowledge base of cybersecurity concepts, right? Because we would ask specific questions about, cryptography, about networking, about vulnerability detection and vulnerability assessments, things like that. So having a mixed bag there is important. Kaizen says, so how do you plan to go down the technical route to switch over to management? I'm thinking to start red team pen testing and progress to senior, then take manager route instead of SME. So boom, right? I've literally done that, right? So I went from security engineer. So I was a nuclear engineer at first, but then there was a big hack in the Middle East called Stuxnet that made me get put on all the cybersecurity projects. So I just say engineer. I was a nuclear cybersecurity engineer, but let's just say security engineer. I started contracting and did more security engineering work. And then I got hired into an organization as another contractor where I was more like became like what they call like a specialist. So that's somebody who's more senior. So I would say that's like a senior role. So a senior security engineer. Then after that, I got into my architect role. So I was a network security architect. And then I was a senior security consultant and then manager. So that was kind of the route that I went, right? And now I'm up for senior manager now. So that was kind of the route that I went, where I was very technical. Like I'm still super duper technical in what I do because I work at a firm that needs that delivery, but I was super technical earlier. Like everything I did was a technical project. I was testing, I was configuring, I was doing all that. Now I'm doing a combination of both. I'm managing people and teams and engagements and financials and people stuff, but I'm also doing technical delivery. So in some organizations, you can do both. But the route that you mentioned, yeah, I think that's a viable route. Maybe a step before that red team pen testing, because that red team pen testing typically is like just sort of like a senior security type of route there. So yeah, I don't know what you got on that, PBO.
Yeah, that's kind of like you. I was a programmer, then I was supervisor programming, and I was over warehousing. Like I said, I had a couple bad teams. Then where I was at, they really got big on security. Then I went to work for DOD. Then I started doing the NIST, the FISMA stuff. So I just kind of kept on that GRC compliance track, right? So I don't know. People keep asking me, do I want to run a team? But I'm like, I don't know. So,
right.
I haven't. But that's how you go up the train, and sooner or later you're over a team as a supervisor. Then it's like, okay, do you want to stay on that management track, right? Because usually you supervisor, manager, director, right? Especially if you're on a decent mid-sized company. So that's how you can, kind of switch and get over there. Then
100%.
I had 2 teams I didn't really like. So I don't know. I'm debating if I want to try to switch over. For me, because I'm old, I think I'm just going to do GRC, SME, kind of ride that out and just call it life.
Yeah. A lot of people do ride it out. Like it's not necessary to go into management all the time, right? It just all depends on what your skill set is, how valuable you are to the market, and how valuable are you to your industry. And you just grow from there. So, I ain't gonna lie, guys. I'm starting to get tired. I'm starting to get. I don't know. I haven't really stretched before this live stream. So I'm gonna answer a couple of more questions. We go ahead and get up on out of here. I'm gonna answer the quick ones. If it's too long, I don't think I can answer it. Okay.
That GRC blue team at the bottom when you get to it at the very bottom.
Okay. Salute before the buildings. Welcome. Welcome, B2B. He's also another brother who is in tech. He's in data science and data engineering. So check him out. What's on say? $5 million is cheaper to pay off than to hire. I don't know. He's probably trolling. Who knows? Wired Dog said, I'm currently taking the tech SME route. I don't want to be a manager right now. Way too many meetings for me. There are a lot of meetings.
There are.
But at the same time,
paychecks bigger. Go ahead. Paychecks.
It is, but at the same time, you can delegate to people.
Oh, facts.
You can say, hey,
all the time.
Man, you can say, hey, I want you to attend this meeting for me, type of thing. That, and then take notes and just give me the skinny on it.
And at my level, right, I'm a senior, so I get delegated to a lot by the big guy. I need you to run this meeting, or I need you to figure out figure out what's broke.
Yep. So I've been doing like I'm going on vacation. I just delegated like 4 or 5 things to other people.
Oh, facts.
So hey, I'm out. Kaiser says, do you still travel much as a consulting manager? I probably should be traveling a lot more, but I've been ducking and dodging travel and engagements, but also I have a child. So, that's always a very easy excuse for me. So actually on a project that I'm on now, it was a requirement to bring in a project manager who is local to that state. So my project manager is the one who does all the in-person stuff. Now I could have made it to where I'm there, right? I'm there at that location, but I'm like, I think the project manager can handle all the in-person customer face-to-face meetings. So
let me chime in on that. And Kaizen, the stuff I get as a senior guy, they want they want me to be remote, but 25% I travel. I told them they have to pay me $250,000 to get me out of my pajamas. So I told them no, but because like you said, you want the old generation X wants you on site, because if they're paying you $300 or a couple million for a project, they want to touch somebody.
Right.
It's a lot of those projects. So
right. It just all depends. I would say all depends on the organization and what you're kind of involved in. But yeah, I probably should be traveling more. I probably should be places, but I'm like, I got an excuse. I got a good excuse. Kaiser said, is GRC or Blue Team more aligned? That's the one that you want to get to.
Yeah, is G6 more aligned with going into project management or for offensive security? I think GRC is more compliance, right? Usually you're dealing with HIPAA, NIST, FISMA. And Gabe will tell you, those big organizations, usually they got a big organization because they got to report to somebody. IRS, HIPAA, Health and Hospital. So that's where you get a lot of those security requirements and security to domains in GRC. Blue Team is more, I think, SOC, defense and depth. I think that's more technical. So both of those can actually end up in a lot of GRC people end up going into management because when you deal with those compliance, a lot of that's the paperwork, policies, procedure, and I always put that on the management side and less on the technical side.
Because you're responsible for it. Like you're responsible for the formalization of documentation for your program. So so Zone say I'm getting old, so I'm gonna replace him in the chat. No, you got it. I know I made you a managing moderator, whatever that is. So you're gonna take over. So hey, that's
delegating.
That's delegation. That's delegation.
Delegating to.
So before the billions is when people start blinking. That means they get man. Yeah, man. I had a long night, man. Long night. Okay, Gay said, before the billions also says, how do you feel about these tech influencers on TikTok that talk about how they make high six figures with less than a year? Yeah, I think a lot of it is cap. Like I saw one where it was somebody who said what their salary was. And then the person who asked them, they said, can you break that down for us? And they said, pretty much they said their base was one thing, that they get a bonus, but then like half of their salary was like equity. And I'm like, equity? But then they also said something. They said that, hey, they are working for a startup and they're pre-IPO. Yeah. Tell me about that. So they said that they were making like almost 300,000. And they said they had a base, they had a bonus, and they had more than almost 100K in pre-IPO. What does that mean? Like, what flags does that jump out to you, PDO?
Oh, that's huge. And I used to work for a very large Fortune 500 insurance company. My boss had $2 million in equity, but they bought a company and it made them go under. So you can have all the equity in the world. If you don't hit the strike price, he ended up with $0.
There it is, right?
So that's a red flag. So a lot of people think, I'm gonna work for the beginning of Google and Facebook. 80% of those companies not gonna hit strike price, so you're gonna leave with $0. So you got to.
There it is. So at times they can be advertising these high numbers, but they don't tell you that some of that equity, that 100+ K in equity, that's a promissory note. That's an IOU. That's a hope we get to where we desire to get, in order for you to actually realize that salary or realize that revenue. So, I think that with these tech influencers, they give a lot of nice buzzword information, but they're not really giving a whole bunch of context. They're not really getting in depth about what it actually really is. They're doing it for the likes, clicks, and views. So
it's crazy because
not all of them, but some of them. Yep.
You can't get an AWS cloud practitioner and gonna make six figures. Come on, man. So I think. But I know why they do it, right? It's for the clicks, it's for the views.
Yeah.
When people want to make 100,000, but I'm gonna throw a number: 75 to 80% of that's cap, and it's never gonna happen. And like we just talked about, it's hard to get in cybersecurity, man. They're gonna want you to have experience, so you're just not gonna get this magical cert and even get in, even if that's CISSP. If you don't have a background to support your CISSP, you're not gonna get a management role with it, right? So
not at all.
Add stuff to it, so. Once again, you got to be like anything, right? If it sounds too good, it's probably too good. Just work on your certs, work on your degrees, work on your skills. You can make six figures probably in 5 or 6 years. I think that's legitimate. And I think, it took me 12 years to make six figures, man, when I was younger. So, of course, with inflation now, it's a little easier. Go ahead, Gabe.
I absolutely agree. And I see that you guys got some questions down there. I'm sorry. How you battle brutal interviews? That might be good.
Hold on. Let me add. It's not brutal.
I'm fading away. I'm fading. No,
I got it. I'm gonna let you go. It's not brutal when you know your craft, man. When I step in the room, if they talk about GRC, I'm warming up because I'm gonna flip the roles. I'm gonna show you how smart I am, and I'm gonna make it brew on you. right? It's brutal if you don't know the answer. It's brutal if you've never done. It's brutal if you're not good at your craft, man. Once you get good at your craft, I mean, what questions are going to scare you with the red team, Gabe? They can't make it brutal.
Not really, unless they get into some, I don't know, some C code manipulation. Like I don't do exploit development, so they try to get into that.
People do that, right? That's a super niche, right?
Small, yeah.
And you're gonna know in the interview that you signed up for that. That's not something you normally say. So I don't think they're brutal, Damon. I would tell people to practice, keep it techie, signing up, helping people do it, textual chatter. Right. There's a ton of guys. If you want, you can reach out to me for GRC interviews. I just interviewed 3 people. Once you get on your craft and you get something under your belt, Damon, it's not brutal, man. I laugh at people now in my old age.
Yeah. So who makes more on this one? I don't know. I think a cybersecurity engineer, but it just all depends.
Cybersecurity, because once again it depends on, but usually a Linux engineer is going to be tapped out on the technical side. Cybersecurity, you get in management, once again, depending on your domain. Cybersecurity is a huge domain, Wayne. You know, you could be a GRC, you could be, we just talked about blue team level 1, SOC, CISO level. I mean, so that the cybersecurity, depending on what you could grow more into it.
Yeah.
Hold on real quick, but I understand Linux. So really Linux sits on top of your cybersecurity because you're going to need to specialize in the OS in there. Go ahead, Gabe.
He said he saw this guy say people should get into non-tech roles to make 6 figures and not to learn coding to make. So I think that a lot of, so it's this big push, and I don't know if you've seen it too, PBO. It's this big push for sales engineering, sales, tech sales, Black Heights. But it's like growing. Like I think there's an organization called Course Careers that they advertise that.
And they reach out to everybody.
They reach out to everybody. Yeah. So like there's some organizations that are focusing in on non-technical tech or non-technical cybersecurity and tech roles. Yeah. So I mean you can do that in sales, sure.
But part of that I put in there is GRC is not as technical, and now we got the product owner and project management. I work with project management. They don't know what they're doing. They just telling me to hurry up. So that whole project management side of 6 figures. Once you get your PMP, that might be my next move. PMP, and I can just tell Gabe to hurry up, sell more stuff.
No, it's good. Yeah, man. No, but it's true, B2B, right? A lot of people can't be sales engineers. That's a lot of talking on the phone, cold calling.
Oh, yeah, I don't like it. But
you having to meet quotas and stuff.
But you've been in this line. That's the hot new thing when it went from AI to Bitcoin to blockchain, right? So every 6 months or a year, there's gonna be a new tech thing that's gonna make you the new 6 figure, right? It's just to be the sales engineer, right? First it was cloud. Everybody named Mom was doing cloud, right? So it switches. Then everybody was doing Bitcoin and a blockchain. Now, Gabe, if you ain't doing artificial intelligence, you ain't shit, right? So it's
apparently
always a new thing.
Because a couple of months ago they were talking about if you ain't in cloud, then you might as well just get out of tech altogether. So, they were saying all types of stuff.
Yeah, I've been in this thing for 35 plus years. So every 2 or 3 years, it's gonna be the hot tech. So you got to try to jump on it, or you're gonna miss out.
Zone always coming at me, man. Thank you, Miss Queen. And on that note, I'm gonna call it a stream. I'm gonna shut it down. Thank you so much, PBO, for coming through. I'm gonna get an outro. Thank you for coming up. I appreciate you, man. All right.
Enjoy your vacation, man.
Will do. Thank you all for coming through to Struggle Security. We are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. If you got any questions, put it in the comment section. I apologize. I didn't stretch enough before this one, so I'm a little stream out of shape. I'm streamed.
You almost went 2 hours. You are 45. You right there.
Because people are coming. Like they got such great questions that my brain, like if you saw me, my head is probably smoking right now because I'm just really trying to take on all the questions and really give great answers to you guys. And thank you so much, PBO, and Keep It Techie for helping to support.
No
this probably would have been a 30-minute stream if you guys weren't here. So thank you so much. Professor Black Ops has a channel. Please subscribe to him. Keep It Techie also has a channel. Please subscribe to him. Hit the like button before you all leave. And thank you all for being here. Struggle Security, normalize the struggle in cybersecurity. All right, y'all. Peace.